The interstellar cafeteria buzzed with life as diverse alien species mingled with the human crew. Amid the laughter and chatter, Zarak, a dignified alien delegate, stood out with his imposing figure and regal demeanor. Curiosity led him to sample human cuisine, a decision that would soon prove disastrous. As Zarak lifted a piece of Turin fruit to his lips, his face twisted in sudden agony. His breathing became erratic, and his skin erupted in violent hues. He staggered, clutching his throat, and collapsed. The room fell silent before erupting into chaos. "Medic! We need a medic here!" Dr. Alex Carter shouted, rushing to Zarak's side. Her heart pounded as she assessed his condition, unlike anything she'd encountered before. She activated her communicator. "Emergency team to the cafeteria, stat." Alien dignitaries surrounded them, their expressions a mix of fear and anger. A tall, blue-skinned delegate pointed an accusatory finger. "Your food has poisoned him. Humans are careless." Dr. Carter looked up, trying to remain calm. "We're doing everything we can. Please, let us work." The med team arrived and carefully lifted Zarak onto a stretcher, rushing him to the medbay. In the medbay, they quickly connected Zarak to various monitors. But the readings were perplexing. "He's going into anaphylactic shock," one nurse reported. "But his physiology is so different. Our usual treatments might not work." Dr. Carter nodded. "We need to stabilize him. Prepare an epinephrine shot and a corticosteroid drip." Despite their best efforts, Zarak's condition fluctuated with minimal response. Frustration gnawed at Dr. Carter as they ran out of time. She turned to her communicator, contacting Dr. Elena Marquez, a renowned cynobiologist. "Elena, I need your expertise. We have an alien delegate in critical condition from an allergic reaction. We can't stabilize him." Marquez's voice crackled through the device. "Describe the symptoms and his species' known reactions to allergens." Dr. Carter relayed the information rapidly. Marquez paused before responding. "His species likely reacts to allergens with intense systemic inflammation. You need a specific antidote synthesized from rare interstellar herbs." "Where can we find these herbs?" Dr. Carter asked, urgency in her voice. "They might be available in the storage sections of the station, but some ingredients could be in restricted areas. You'll need permission from the Alien Council." Dr. Carter sighed, knowing the diplomatic challenges ahead. "Thank you, Elena. We'll get it done." Back in the cafeteria, the alien delegates' tension had not eased. Dr. Carter returned, addressing them firmly. "We need to find specific herbs to save Zarak. Your cooperation is essential." The delegates murmured among themselves before the blue-skinned delegate spoke again with a hint of grudging respect. "What do you need from us?" "Access to restricted areas and any knowledge of where these herbs might be stored," Dr. Carter replied. The alien nodded. "We'll help. But remember, Zarak's life hangs in the balance." Dr. Carter felt the weight of the task ahead as she coordinated the search efforts. She couldn't shake the feeling that this incident was more than just a medical emergency. It was a test of their ability to bridge the vast cultural and biological divides that separated them. With renewed determination, Dr. Carter led her team into the unknown, hoping their combined efforts would be enough to save Zarak and prevent an interstellar incident. The medbay buzzed with tension as Dr. Alex Carter scanned the list of ingredients needed for the antidote. Time was slipping away. She gathered her team, a mix of humans and sympathetic aliens, each face marked by worry and determination. "Listen up," Dr. Carter began, her voice steady. "We need these ingredients to save Zarak. We'll split into pairs and navigate the ship's uncharted areas. Stay focused and remember, this isn't just about one life. It's about showing we can cooperate despite our differences." The team nodded, and they set off. Dr. Carter and Lieutenant Harper, a seasoned navigator, headed toward the hydroponic gardens, hoping to find the first ingredient. As they walked, Carter felt the weight of the mission pressing on her shoulders. The corridors seemed to stretch endlessly, every shadow a potential threat. Dr. Carter. Harper broke the silence. Why do you think Zerak's reaction was so severe? Carter sighed. His species' biology is vastly different from ours. Human food must have triggered an unforeseen reaction. We need to understand more about each other to prevent this in the future. They reached the gardens, lush with alien flora. Harper scanned the plants. Found it, he exclaimed, plucking a luminescent leaf. One down, two to go. Next, they ventured into the storage bays with Ensign Zhao and an alien delegate named Threx. The tension between them was palpable. Threx's people had been the most vocal in blaming humans for the incident. Let's get this over with, Threx grumbled, his eyes flicking suspiciously at Zhao. Peace, Threx, Zhao said calmly. We're all in this together. They sifted through crates, searching for the second ingredient. Threx's mood seemed to soften as they worked side by side, their mutual goal fostering a fragile camaraderie. Zhao handed Threx a vial of shimmering liquid. This should do it. We're making progress. Finally, Carter and her team approached the restricted science labs, where the last ingredient was guarded by an alien species known as the Core. The Core were known for their fierce protectiveness over their resources. A Core guard barred their way. You cannot pass, it hissed. Carter stepped forward. We need your help. Zerak's life is at stake. The Core deliberated, its eyes narrowing. Our resources are sacred. Carter's heart pounded. We don't want to take it by force. We're asking for your cooperation. If Zerak dies, it could lead to conflict. Help us, and we'll owe you a great debt. The Core guard's gaze softened slightly. Very well, but understand this. We do this for the greater good. They entered the lab, securing the final ingredient, rare glowing crystal. As they left, Carter couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment mixed with the heavy burden of responsibility. Back in the medbay, Dr. Elena Marquez waited with bated breath. Did you get everything? Carter nodded, handing over the ingredients. Let's synthesize this antidote. The room buzzed with activity as the medical team worked furiously. Marquez and Carter combined their knowledge, blending the ingredients with precision. This has to work, Carter murmured, more to herself than anyone else. Finally, the antidote was ready. Carter administered it to Zerak, her hands steady but her heart racing. The room fell silent as everyone watched, holding their breath. Minutes ticked by. Then, Zerak's breathing eased. His color improved. A collective sigh of relief swept through the room. We did it, Carter said, her voice barely above a whisper. The team exchanged weary smiles, the weight of their success and the unity it had forged settling in. As the medbay quieted, Carter knew this was just the beginning. They had proven that cooperation and empathy could bridge even the widest divides. The medbay was a hive of activity, the tension palpable as Dr. Alex Carter stood over Zerak's motionless form. The alien dignitary's condition had deteriorated, and time was running out. Beside her, Dr. Elena Marquez, the xenobiologist, meticulously prepared the rare ingredients they had risked so much to obtain. We don't have much time, Marquez said, her voice strained. We need to synthesize the antidote quickly. Dr. Carter nodded, her mind racing. Let's get to it. As the medical team worked with feverish intensity, a series of setbacks tested their resolve. The complex alien biology required precise calibration of the antidote, and initial attempts yielded unstable results. Damn it, Carter muttered, her hands trembling. We need to get this right. Marquez adjusted the equipment, her brow furrowed in concentration. We'll get there. We have to. Suddenly, a power fluctuation caused the lights to flicker, and the vital machinery stuttered. Panic surged through the room. Stabilize the power grid, Carter barked, her command cutting through the chaos. We can't afford any interruptions. The engineering team, led by Chief Engineer Martinez, sprang into action, rerouting power to ensure the medbay remained operational. Moments later, The lights steadied, and the machinery hummed back to life. "Good work," Carter acknowledged, turning back to the task at hand. As they resumed their efforts, the tension in the room was palpable. Every second counted, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Carter and Marquez meticulously combined the ingredients, their hands moving with precision and urgency. "Almost there," Marquez said, her voice a whisper of hope. Finally, the antidote was ready. Carter carefully drew the shimmering liquid into a syringe, her heart pounding. She approached Zarak, who lay still, his breathing shallow. "Hold on, Zarak," Carter murmured. "This has to work." She administered the antidote, the room holding its collective breath. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, Zarak's chest heaved, and he let out a ragged breath. His color slowly returned, and his breathing steadied. "He's stabilizing," Marquez said, relief washing over her features. Wave of elation swept through the medbay. The crew members exchanged relieved glances, their exhaustion momentarily forgotten. Carter sighed, the weight of the crisis lifting. "We did it." Marquez nodded, a smile breaking through her fatigue. "Yes, we did." As they monitored Zarak's recovery, Carter took a moment to reflect. The ordeal had pushed them to their limits, testing their skills and resolve. Yet it had also demonstrated the power of cooperation and innovation. Different species, different backgrounds, all working together towards a common goal. "Thank you, everyone," Carter addressed the team. "Your dedication made this possible." Martinez, wiping sweat from his brow, grinned. Just another day in interstellar diplomacy. Laughter rippled through the medbay, the tension finally easing. They had faced the unknown and emerged victorious, united by a shared purpose. Later, as Carter stood by Zarak's bedside, she felt a sense of pride and hope. This incident had proven that, despite their differences, they could come together and overcome even the most daunting challenges. "Rest well, Zarak," she whispered. "We're all in this together." With Zarak's condition stable, Carter knew their work was far from over. But for now, they had won a crucial victory, one that would pave the way for a future of greater understanding and cooperation among the stars. The medbay was unusually quiet, the hum of machines the only sound as Dr. Alex Carter monitored Zarak's vitals. The alien dignitary's condition had stabilized, and for the first time in days, hope filled the air. The next morning, the ship's main conference room buzzed with activity. Representatives from various species gathered to discuss the incident. Dr. Carter stood at the edge, observing the discussions. The tension from the previous days had transformed into cautious optimism. Ambassador Rillan, a tall, blue-skinned alien with luminescent eyes, addressed the assembly. "The cooperation we witnessed during this crisis has set a new precedent." Dr. Carter and her team exemplified unity and dedication. "We owe them our gratitude." A murmur of agreement spread through the room, and Dr. Carter felt a surge of pride. It was a rare moment of harmony among such a diverse group. Later, in her quarters, Dr. Carter reflected on the ordeal. The challenges they faced highlighted the importance of understanding and empathy across species. She thought of the moral dilemmas, the ethical debates, and the breakthroughs. Each moment had tested their resolve, but also revealed the strength of their diverse crew. Her thoughts were interrupted by a knock. Dr. Elena Marquez entered, holding a small datapad. "Alex, I've been compiling our findings. This could revolutionize interspecies medical protocols." Dr. Carter smiled. "We've learned so much, Elena. Not just scientifically, but personally. This incident has changed us all." Marquez nodded. "It has. And it's just the beginning. There's so much more we can achieve together." The next day, a formal ceremony was held in the central hall. Banners from different planets adorned the walls, and a sense of unity pervaded the space. Captain Hayes, a stern but fair leader, took the podium. "Ladies and gentlemen, today we honor the bravery and ingenuity of our crew. Dr. Alex Carter, Please step forward. Dr. Carter approached, heart pounding. Captain Hayes pinned a medal to her uniform. For your exceptional service and dedication, we present you with the Star of Unity. Your actions have not only saved a life but have strengthened the bonds between our species. Applause filled the room. Dr. Carter felt a swell of pride and humility. She looked at the faces around her, each one a testament to their collective effort. In the aftermath, new protocols were established. A dedicated team was formed to study and integrate interspecies medical knowledge. Dr. Carter was appointed as the head, her expertise invaluable in shaping this new era of cooperation. During a quiet moment in the ship's observation deck, Dr. Carter gazed at the stars. Zarak joined her, his recovery evident in his improved posture. "Thank you, Dr. Carter," Zarak said, his voice steady. "Your perseverance and empathy have not only saved me, but also bridged gaps between our peoples." Dr. Carter nodded. "We still have much to learn from each other. But this is a start." Zarak smiled. "Indeed, and it's a promising one." As they stood side by side, the vast expanse of space before them, Dr. Carter felt a renewed sense of purpose. The incident had been a catalyst for change, a reminder of the potential for unity amidst diversity. The ship continued its journey, carrying with it a crew forever altered by their shared experiences. Each member, human and alien alike, looked forward to a future where cooperation was the norm, not the exception.